Hello there guys. Okay, today I want to look at how to set up and maintain a web server and an FTP server. Both of them work on exactly the same methods. It's only the port numbers that change, and if you go onto the internet and you work with downloading files and stuff, you're actually just working with an FTP server. So both of them are very closely related. So to start off with, we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need our local IP address, our external IP address, a web server, and we're going to need to know how to change or to create a port forward on our router. Now for some of you it might sound a little bit too complex, but it's quite easy. I think I can do this in maybe 2 videos or so. So to start off with, let's get our local IP address. A local IP address is the IP address allocated to you from your router. To get that, you go to Network and Sharing Center. That's if you have Vista, obviously, and you can view the status. Go to Details, and that is your IP address. So I'm going to write that down. It's 192.168.0.102. Okay, so I now know my computer's IP address. Okay, I'm going to close this, and now I want to go and look for my external IP address. Now the external IP address is an IP address allocated to you from your web service. So I am with NTL World or Virgin, so mine is supplied by Virgin, but the easiest way to get it is to go to the internet and just maybe browse for what is my IP. You'll find a lot of sites that they're able to tell you what your IP address is. So I'm just going to look at the first one here. Okay, so your IP address is, and then we can get it. 86 is usually an external one, where your 192s are most probably your internal ranges. So this is an external one. So I'm going to write this down. This is my external IP address. It's 86.28.152.54. Okay, now we have our 2 IP addresses. I'm going to close this, and now to get a web server. Okay, the easiest one and the best one I've worked with for small projects is Xever, which is Xever. We're going to Google search that. Sorry, Ver. There we go. And from here you can download the latest version, which is 4.32. Maybe it'll be something different when you download it. You can click on that. Download.com is quite reliable. Download it from download.com. Let's just maximize it there. And my internet will block it. Let's download the file, and you can click it save, and maybe save it to your desktop. I've already got a copy, so I'm not going to download another copy. There is my setup folder, and once you've double clicked on that, done a complete setup, you'll have an icon that looks like that. Okay, so now we have our external IP, our local IP address, and our server. If you double click on the web server, it looks something similar to this. You can then confirm that this is your outer IP address and this is your internal IP address, which then shows you that any connection from outside your router will have to type in this IP address to reach your router. Your router will then need to forward all the requests to this IP address so that your computer can answer the questions posted by your router. Okay, so to do that, we need to go and look at our routers. So to start off with, we will go to the internet browser, and most routers have got an IP address that you can access via the web. So for example, mine is 192.168.0.1, and my username and password. Okay, and at the moment I have a D-Link. You might most probably have something different, but all routers have a function of forwarding a port forward. If you don't know how to do a port forward, look in your support tabs or your help files. It's quite simple. All you have to do is tell it where a certain port needs to go to. So for example, I will go to advanced and port forwarding, and because I'm doing an FTP server, I can select FTP from there, and the computer I want to send the FTP to, which is my PC, which is 102, I set it as active and it's always on, and I go save settings. Now because I've already got this over here, there's my FTP server. I'm not going to do it again, port 21. So I'm going to just take that off. Okay, hopefully it won't give me a problem. Okay, so now that we know that our port forwards from the outer IP address to our local IP address, we can go and start the server. Go to FTP and start the FTP server. So it's exactly the same IP addresses, okay, and our server is now active. So to start off with, actually, you know what, I think we'll cover this in the second video. I'm running out of time here, so look for the second one and we'll carry on from here.